We are Bums. Welcome back to the Sportsbumz podcast with Alex and Cody.
Okay, so on today's podcast, episode 3, we will be doing the top 5 NFL players for skill positions on offense, which are QB, running back, wide receiver, and tight end. We ain't scouts, so we ain't doing the offensive line, but we might do defensive players in a later podcast. So let's get started, Bums.
All right, so now we'll be starting off with the running backs. At 5, I have Dalvin Cook. He could be much higher on the list, but he does have injury issues. But nonetheless, he's just a talented freak of nature. He's electric. He's dynamic. He was basically the Vikings' whole offense last year. Not only is he a great pass catcher and runner, he opens up the offense for Kirk Cousins because he allows the play action game because he's such a dynamic running back. And the only part of Kirk Cousins' game that at least is somewhat decent is his play action.
Yeah, I mean, I had Cook at 5 too. I mean, it was a toss up between him and Fournette at 5, but I put Cook at 5 just because of everything you said. I mean, they both had injury riddled careers so far, but Cook's had the more solid, consistent career.
Yeah, I think there's no question Cook is a top 5 running back. And at number 4, I have Saquon Barkley, and I know a lot of people might disagree with that, but he just hasn't had any sort of success really. Like he puts up numbers and he's a talented freak, but they don't translate to wins. But he's still talented as hell. You know, I've never seen someone with that speed have that sort of strength and contact running in my life. I think he would be in my top 2 or 3 after the season because I actually think the Giants are going to have a good season this year.
I have him higher on my list. I mean, if he's doing that good with that bad of an O-line, imagine if he has a somewhat decent O-line. I mean, you said his stats don't translate to wins. I mean, just look at the rest of the squad, bro. Like, their squad's cheeks. They're gonna have a horrible season this year. They're gonna have a top 5 pick again this year.
Alvin doesn't have the best offensive line.
It don't matter. I mean, he has other weapons though, so they can't solely focus on the run game.
Dude, their receivers ain't bad.
All right, for me at number 4, I have Derrick Henry.
Murray, Slayton, they're all solid.
Bro, I got Derrick Henry at 4. Got Derrick Henry at 4.
I have him higher.
He's been consistent, but I mean, he had his breakout year last year. I mean, yeah, I had him on my fantasy team. I mean, he's just a freak in nature. There's no one else built like him.
Yeah, I actually have Derrick Henry at number 3. To me, he single-handedly carried that Titans team to the playoffs. Like, do you just watch the playoffs? He literally ran wild on both the Patriots and Ravens, who both have elite defenses. And a lot of people are going to say, oh, it's a one-year wonder. I actually don't think so, because if you actually look at the second half of the 28 season, he was actually dominant the second half. It's just he was struggling because Marcus Mariota sucks balls, dude. He's terrible. He's an absolute bust for a number 2 pick, which is why he didn't have any early success.
Yeah, I mean, when you have Ryan Tannehill throwing for about 100 yards a game and you're still winning playoff games, I mean, that's solely because of Derrick Henry. I mean, but for me at number 3, I have Alvin Kamara, the second best pass catching running back in the league, an elusive runner. He sets up everything else for Michael Thomas because they can't solely focus on the pass game down in New Orleans without him.
I don't agree. I don't have Alvin Kamara even in my top 5. I just don't think you can put a running back who hasn't even had 1,000 rushing yards in a season in your top 5. He doesn't even have 1,000. He's like Darren Sproles. Are you going to put him in your top 5 all-time running backs or top 10? No. He's more of a weapon rather than an actual running back.
I have him at 3.
Nah, I would put 7, 8, 9 guys over Alvin Kamara. I think he's a product of the Saints system. You know, Sean Payton's amazing offense. I don't think he's really like if you put him on the Jags or the Browns or a bad offensive minded team, I don't think he's having any sort of elite success that he's had.
If you put a lot of people on the Jags, you're going to be bad. It's the Jags.
Okay, but like if you put him in on let's just say the Giants or the Panthers, is he going to have the same level of success as like a C-Mac or a Saquon or all the other guys you have in your tier 1?
I think he would, but I mean, especially in Carolina. I mean, in Carolina, they have a bunch of number 2 receivers. Like DJ Moore isn't a number 1 receiver. He's a number 2 receiver, but put at the number 1 spot on that team. So I feel like he would get some production. He wouldn't get as much production as McCaffrey because no one else will, but he still will get a lot of production.
I don't think so. Speaking of McCaffrey, I have him as my number 2 running back.
What?
Again, I think He has no winning whatsoever.
Oh my
Like,
god.
he puts up all these numbers, yet goes 5-11. Like, he goes 5-11.
Dude, he's a running back that had over 1,000 yards receiving and 1,000 yards rushing last year. He almost led the league in receptions as a running back last year. I don't know how you don't have him at 1. For me, I had Saquon at 2.
What? So you have Zeke in your top 5?
Nope, I had Zeke at 7 on my list. Zeke is so overrated.
What are you talking about? Oh my god, bro.
Zeke is so overrated. Are you kidding me?
Oh. You have okay, you're talking about a guy in C-Mac who puts up a lot of empty numbers. I guarantee you he's not putting up these same numbers next year. Guaranteed. I think you're going to see 70%, maybe even 60% of the numbers he had this year. I see significant drop off, especially with now a decent quarterback. The reason why he was getting a lot of these numbers
is Kyle Allen.
Yeah, which was actually a good thing for his passing numbers because he was getting 10 to 12 dump downs a game, which none of these other guys.
His pass catching numbers are going to go down because they have Teddy Bridgewater down there now, which is a solid QB, not a great QB, but a solid QB. So his receptions will go down, but his rushing will stay the same.
I don't think so. I think you're going to see probably a 60% for receiving totals, and you're going to see about 70 to 80% for rushing for this next season. I don't think he's going to have that same level of production, especially like last year he was playing for the contract. Okay, so who do you have at? You had Saquon at 2? Well,
yeah, I got Saquon at 2.
Who's played like 1.5 seasons and no winning whatsoever.
That was Dalvin Cook. Dalvin Cook's only played like 1.5 seasons because he gets hurt all the time.
Yeah, but he's carrying the Vikings to the playoff, offensively at least.
Yeah, he would carry the Panthers to the playoffs, but the Panthers and the Giants both have horrendous defenses. They're two of the worst defenses in the league. The Panthers allowed the most points per game on defense last year.
I don't think they're actually one of the worst defenses. I think they just played in the offensive loaded. Like when you looked at their division, all the other 3 teams, which they have 6 games a year, they've all put up big offensive numbers, which is why the Panthers' defensive ratings were so low. I don't think.
I give them 5. The Falcons are hit or miss. The Falcons are so hot and cold. I can't give the Falcons 2 games. I'll give them 5.
No, dude, that offense is loaded, bro. You think about last year, they had until halfway through the season, they had 2 number 2 receivers, 1 elite 1 receiver, a number 1 tight end.
They didn't have 2 number 2 receivers. All they had was Julio and Calvin Ridley.
No, like before Sanu got traded.
Sanu is not a number 2 receiver.
Yeah, he is.
No, he's not. Sanu's a high-end 3. He is not a number 2 receiver.
Why did the Patriots trade a second-round pick for Sanu then?
Bro, because they needed someone.
Okay,
they needed a veteran that could pick up a playbook.
Yeah, but a second-round pick, bro. AB got traded for a third-rounder.
He got traded for more than a third-rounder. He got traded for a third and a fifth, but...
A second's worth more than a third and a fifth. And Hopkins got traded for a second. And they had to take on David Johnson's contract.
That's because Bill O'Brien's just stupid, but...
Bro, but Sanu's solid, bro. He's a solid number 2. Alright, so at number 1, I have Zeke. And I don't know how you can't put Zeke. He's 1,400 yards guaranteed this season. There's no question. He's become an elite pass catcher now. And the Cowboys go as Zeke goes. So in order for Dak to play good, Zeke needs to be running that ball.
They should honestly start Andy Dalton over Dak. Okay? Dak's trash. Dak's a dink and Dak. We don't call it dink and dunk. We call it dink and Dak.
They're helping my point. The Cowboys go as Zeke goes. So how can you put him at number...
No, throw Andy Dalton in there and they'll have more of a passing game.
No, that's not the question. The question is why I'm arguing that Zeke is number 1.
Zeke isn't number 1. Zeke's number 7 on my list. I almost put Nick Chubb over him.
Bro, that makes no sense. Zeke is a guaranteed 1,400 yards. And
so overrated. Too many off-field issues. You don't even know if he's going to be available to play every week because of his suspension.
That's not even true. He's played 16 games the past 2 seasons. He's never been injured.
He's had so many allegations. So many allegations.
It don't matter.
Like him and Odell.
It's the allegation because it's not true. Like, come on, dude. He almost got suspended for pulling a girl's top off. Like, is that really... It's not bad, dude. That's not like Joe Mixon punching girls in college. Like, you gotta realize that. But that season, remember Zeke got suspended for 6 games that season? You saw Dak struggle mightily when Zeke wasn't playing, and that
because
just
Dak's
showed
not
that.
good.
Okay, then why is he playing solid football like these past 2 years? Like he's putting elite numbers.
When you put enough weapons around a so-so quarterback, he'll do decent. Like give Nick Foles those weapons, and you'll see more production out of Nick Foles than Dak Prescott.
Still, no, but I think a primary reason of that production is Zeke. Zeke is the main reason, not the receivers. Because remember, before they traded for Amari Cooper in 2018, Zeke was still running wild, but Dak was struggling so bad, and they were still winning somewhat. So that
because they just focused in on the running game because they knew Dak couldn't get it to Michael Gallup and other so-so receivers.
Yeah, but first of all, Michael Gallup's really good, but Zeke is still putting up big numbers when Dak is struggling. So no matter what, when Zeke puts up numbers, they win games. Dak is not the quarterback or the receivers are not the reason why the Cowboys win games. It's solely because of Zeke. In the other cases of the other people, they're not winning games. Like C-Mac ain't winning games like Zeke. Even though they have
defense there's a big difference on their defensive sides of the ball though. You can't put it all on the running.
Okay, we'll see next year. I guarantee you I'll prove my point next year because the Cowboys defense is not good next year. It's not going to be that good.
No, the Cowboys defense sucks. Yeah, they suck now. Besides Leighton Vander Esch and who's the other dude?
Jalen. One of overpaid pass rushers.
He's trash. They lost Robert Quinn. They lost Byron Jones. They lost Jeff Key. They lost a bunch of people in the secondary.
Then why do you think C-Mac's better than Zeke? I know you have C-Mac at 1.
Yeah, C-Mac's at 1 because, I mean, he gets over 1,000 yards in pass catching and running as a running back. That's unheard of. Just watch him. Just watch the film. I mean, he's one of the fastest running backs out there, one of the strongest running backs out there, one of the most elusive. I mean, I don't know how you don't have him at number 1.
Because, dude, Zeke's a better runner than C-Mac. I don't think anyone will not agree with that. Yeah, C-Mac's a better pass catcher, but Zeke's a way better runner. I think everyone.
He's not a way better runner. He's a better runner, but not a way better runner.
Every time you literally watch the Cowboys, Zeke, every time he runs, is literally a guaranteed 5 to 10 yards. Literally.
All right, that's
really horrible list. Imagine playing Zeke at 7, like not even on the list.
Nope, Leonard Fournette over Zeke.
Leonard Fournette, who's pretty much a bust at this point for a number 4.
He's not a bust.
Yeah, he is. Then why do the Jags want to trade him?
Because the Jags want to trade everyone. The Jags traded Ramsey, Bouye, Calais Campbell. Yeah. They're going to trade Ngakoue. They're trading everyone.
They trade everyone, yet nobody wants Fournette. If you gave him a 2nd or 3rd rounder, they would have took it on draft day, but no one took it.
I don't think anyone traded
that.
There's
a reason why no one wants Fournette.
He's got injury history. If he's healthy, he's an animal.
That's not true, dude.
He's a yard machine. He doesn't score touchdowns, but he gets a ton of yards.
It's because of his volume. If you give someone his volume, of course he's going to put up numbers. But if you actually look at his efficiency, it's horrible. It's horrible, dude. Fournette's probably not even my top 15 to 20 running backs. I'm taking a guy. I'm taking a guy like Kenyon Drake over him, dude. Just look at the stats. He's so inefficient. He's ridiculously inefficient.
Alright, bro. I'm done with you.
I don't even know what you're talking about, bro. Alright, so now for tight ends, and I know Cody's probably going to have Mark Andrews ridiculously high on his list.
Nope, I got him at 5. I got him at 5.
Okay. Oh, I actually have him higher than you then. Okay, at number 5, I actually have somewhat of a surprise, which is Tyler Higbee. I actually have Tyler Higbee at number 5.
Oh, wow.
When you just,
oh my God. You put him over people like Austin Hooper, Darren Waller, and Hunter Henry?
I'll tell you why. There's a reason why he got that massive deal he got a year ago when he was unproven still. First of all, he's an elite.
God.
Pro Football Focus had him as the number 3 highest offensive rating, and he had 750 yards, and it's because he just needs a larger target share. Once he gets more targets, I guarantee you next season, Tyler Higbee will be over 1,000 yards. Guaranteed. No doubt.
See, I don't know how you put him over people like Austin Hooper or Darren Waller, where they played consistently the whole year and had a lot more production.
They're getting 70 more targets, yet they only have 100 or 200 more yards.
I don't know. I mean, for me at number 5, I have Mark Andrews. I mean, it's Lamar's favorite target. He's always open. He has big play down the seam type potential. He had like 15 plus touchdowns last year. He's a monster in the red zone. I mean, I had him at 5.
Yeah, for pretty much the same reasons. Yeah, I also have Mark Andrews in my top 5. I actually have him at 4, which is I didn't think I was gonna have him higher than you, but he had a crazy good season, and he's Lamar's safety blanket. There's no doubt about it. And without him, I think Lamar probably would have struggled in the passing game last year. Mark Andrews was getting open in the mid game and in the short game. I think he's still young. I think he'll eventually emerge as probably once Kelsey and Ertz get older, he'll probably emerge as probably the second best tight end.
Yep. For me at number 4, I have Gronk. Even though I didn't play last year, I still have Gronk at 4. I got Gronk at 4.
Dude, he hasn't even played, bro.
Dude, it's Gronk. Like, that's all I need to say.
Okay, I'll put.
He's still in shape.
Tony Gonzalez in your top 5? Antonio Gates?
No, because he
Shannon
retired.
Sharp in your top 5?
Nope, I got Gronk.
Yeah, Gronk retired.
I got Gronk at 4.
Why? He hasn't played in a year. He's injury prone as hell. He's had more WWE production than NFL production in the past year and a half.
Just look at when he plays, though. When he plays, even in the last Super Bowl he played, and he was still banged up, still catching passes everywhere, still blocking.
I don't think he's the same guy. He's not the same guy. You can't just take a year off. You can't take a year off.
Did it.
Nah, he was not that good last year. He wasn't that good.
He was decent. He wasn't great, but he was decent.
Yeah, and decent ain't top 5 for me. And Gronk's getting older, dude. I think once Brady retires, he retires. He knows it's like the last run.
I got Gronk at 4.
Which is ridiculous. It makes no sense.
I think our top 3 is going to be the same, though.
Yeah, I don't know about the order, but I have Ertz at 3.
Yep, that's right. I got him at 3 too.
I think there's no doubt he's number 3.
Yep.
He was one of the sole reasons why the Eagles won that championship, because offensively Nick Foles really only looked for Zach Ertz all game, even in that crucial 4th and 1 late in the fourth quarter with the game on the line. Zach Ertz was there, even though he had somewhat a down season last year. But I think it's primarily due to no other weapons outside of Ertz, so they would just be doubling Ertz. And I think next year, because the additions of Jalen Reagor and Alshon getting healthy again, I do think you will see another 1,000-yard season from Ertz next year.
Yeah, I mean, Ertz, they could focus in on Ertz because Carson Wentz was thrown to practice squad players at the end of the season last year. So, I mean, Greg Ward, J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, Boston Scott. I mean,
bro, give me like on Whiteside, man. At least he's 6'11".
I mean, he's just a monster in the red zone. Just always gets open. I mean, I had him at 3 too.
All right, so at number 2, I have Travis Kelce, who's clearly number 2 to me. I think number 1's a clear 1. Kelce has seen consistent production, 4,000-yard seasons already. He's definitely a Hall of Famer already, but he is not the best run blocker, and he does have Mahomes, which shows how he has these higher number games, and I think that's why most people actually think he's the better tight end. But in reality, the number 1 tight end who I have, Kittle, is definitely the number 1 tight end, no doubt.
No, but I have Kittle at 2 because, I mean, he is the best blocking tight end. But, I mean, even if you give him Mahomes, he's not going to have as many catches as Kelce is. Kelce's a much better pass catcher.
Kittle broke the tight end receiving record in 2018 with the run-heavy offense, with Nick Mullins at quarterback for half the season.
That's true, but
there's no doubt he's number 1.
I got him at 2. I got Kelce at 1.
See, I have Kittle at 1. Dude, just look at his production with a run game. It's an offensive running team, and he's putting up big numbers. He doesn't have Mahomes. He has porn star Jimmy G. He's an elite pass catcher, and he's way better after the catch than Kelce. I think we could agree on that, right? After the catch,
he's better after the catch.
So then what is Kelce actually better than Kittle at?
I don't know. It's probably just more from what I've seen on the field. I haven't seen Kittle play as much. I've seen Kelce play a lot more, so that probably factors into it. But I have Kelce at 1.
Yeah, see, that's what most people think because they see Kelce more because he's playing with Mahomes, and they see this offensive firepower, and they're like, oh, Kelce must be the best tight end. No, that's not true, dude. Kittle in a run-heavy offense with Jimmy G is putting up big numbers. And as a sophomore, he broke the tight end record. Just imagine how dominant of a tight end he will be for the next decade.
No, he will be. He'll be the highest paid tight end when he gets his contract. So I mean, I can understand why you have him at 1.
All right, so now on to the top 5 receivers, and this is probably going to be the most controversial debate, I think, because I know that I have a different perspective in receivers than Cody. And at number 5, I have Odell Beckham Jr., which people hate on for some reason.
Oh my God, he was not even in my top 10. He's not even in my top
Bro,
10.
That is just ridiculous. Are you kidding me? Odell is a freakish talent. He's absolutely.
Look at his numbers last year. Jarvis Landry had more production than him last year.
I don't. It's not, dude. It's because the Browns is a laughing stock of a franchise, and no, it's the Browns' fault. If you put him on any other potent offense, he's putting up the same numbers as a Hopkins, as a Evans, as a Mike Thomas, as a Floyd. He's putting up the same numbers. The only reason why I have him at 5 is because he's a little bit of a diva. That's the only issue. But when you look at the overall talent, he's an elite pass catcher, an elite pass runner. He's probably the most dynamic athlete out of all the receivers. He was like the Giants' best QB in 2018. Remember that? He was literally the Giants' best QB.
I don't even have him in my top 10 because he is a diva and his production has gone down as the years have gone on. For me at number 5, I have Davante Adams. Probably one of the best route runners in the league. He's always open. You can double him and he still gets open. He's the only person Aaron Rodgers will throw to on that team.
What? He's probably not in my top 10, bro. You kidding me? First of all, the reason why he puts up those big numbers is because he's Aaron Rodgers' number 1. It's like another Jordy Nelson type where he's the number 1 receiver.
Yeah, that's literally what I said. That's what I literally wrote down. I said only person that Rodgers will throw to besides Jordy Nelson.
But that's the reason why I don't have him in my top 5 because he's not an elite talent.
Yes, he is. He's one of the best route runners in the league.
Huh?
He's one of the best route runners in the league.
I think Odell a better or as good route runner as Davante Adams. If you give Odell to Rodgers, Odell's going to put up 1,700 yards easy.
I don't think so.
I think you're misconstruing this with fantasy, bro. Because this is the top 5 receivers, not top 5 fantasy receivers. Because Adams is not top 5. I don't think anyone's considering Adams as a top 5 receiver.
I got him at 5.
Which is ridiculous. All right, at number 4, I got DeAndre Hopkins. And Hopkins, you're talking elite hands. He has elite hands. He had no drops 2 seasons ago. But why I have him at 4 is he just have top end speed. He lacked production with bad quarterbacks. That's number 1. And number 2, he doesn't really have most of his numbers come from just a large target share. A guy like Julio had 1,400 yards with only 99 catches. With Hopkins, it's just a lot of possession catches and a lot of production where it's sort of just because he gets this large target share that a lot of people don't get, which is why he puts up these big numbers. But in reality, I don't think as a receiver he's better than the 3 guys I have ahead of him.
I have him higher on my list based off the fact that just a lot of different things. But for me at number 4, I have Tyreek Hill. He's the fastest guy on the field at all times. They use him in various different ways. He returns punts. You can run him on the end around. You can burn him with speed. You can run slants for him. He can run any route and he can burn you over the top.
Yeah, I had him at 6, but he's in that tier for me, definitely. I think the cutoff is Tyreek Hill, in terms of my tier 1 receivers, which he was at 6. So at number 3, I have Mike Evans, who is probably one of the most complete receivers in the league. Mm-hmm. He's great in the short game, the mid game, and in the deep game. He is probably the best blocking receiver.
Yep, he's the best blocking receiver in the league, no doubt.
And he puts up 1,400 yards almost every season. And he's had unstable QB play for the last 5 years with Jameis Winston, who literally doesn't know what he's doing half the time.
No, I had him at 6. It was between him and Davante Adams at 5 for me. For me at number 3, I have Julio. I got Julio at number 3.
What?
Yep.
What?
I got Julio at number 3. It's close between him. It's close between him and my number 2, but I got Julio at 3. He has great production. It's just the touchdowns some years. If you're a top tier receiver, you gotta have more than 3 touchdowns.
Megatron, who had one of the greatest receiving seasons of all time, had 2 touchdowns.
Okay, that was 1 year. Megatron consistently got a ton of TDs every year.
No, he doesn't. He actually doesn't. For his height, he should be getting way more touchdowns. And there's no doubt we question that Megatron is a top 5 talent receiver ever. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah. I got Julio at 3.
I think the touchdowns is mainly because of Matt Ryan's fault, if we're being honest. All right, so at number 2, I have Michael Thomas, who, again, the reason why I don't have him at number 1, he, again, lacks top-end speed, which I value. And a lot of people say he plays like in the slot too much, but if you actually look at the stats, only 35 of his 149 catches were actually in the slot. He's unstoppable in the mid game, and he's consistent. And he's clearly, in my mind, a top 2 receiver. The reason why I don't have him at 1 is because he just lacks top end speed.
I have DeAndre Hopkins at 2. Now, you value top end speed a lot more, so that's why I don't know why you didn't have Tyreek Hill at number 5 if you value top end speed. But for me,
he's more of a weapon, not a receiver. He's more of a weapon.
No, but okay. I value targets and more receptions. Now I know that somewhat depends on the quarterback, but I mean, let's be realistic. If you have people like DeAndre Hopkins on your team, I think his production might even go up with Kyler Murray being his quarterback instead of Deshaun Watson.
No, I think it's going down. I think you're going to see Hopkins have a great decline in production next year. His target share with Watson was by far the highest in the league. I don't think you're going to see that same level of targets as with Kyler Murray, because with Kyler Murray, you got other weapons there. You got Drake, you got Christian Kirk, who's going to be a really solid number 2. You got Fitz, who's going to be a great slot receiver. I don't think you're going to get the same level of production with Hopkins. I think you're going to see a Odell-like season, like what Odell had last year. I think you're going to see that with Hopkins.
I'm close. He's not going to have Christian Kirk be the leading receiver over him.
Okay, no, I'm not saying that, but I think you're going to see Kirk at around 800-900, and you're going to see Hopkins at 1,100-1,200.
I don't know.
Well, anyways, I have Julio at number 1, who's probably a clear number 1. We've seen literally 6 years of dominant production, 1,400 yards guaranteed. He had an 1,800-yard season 1 year, and you're talking about at 6'3", 4'3", 40, and strong. There's no doubt he's the most talented receiver. He's the best receiver in the league. There's it's literally no debate for me, at least.
I mean, I have Michael Thomas at number 1. I mean, when you can always get open on the field, I know it's also because of Drew Brees, but I mean, give him another quarterback. He's still always open. You can double him. I know he runs out of the slot a lot, but he's always open.
Okay, then how come in the deep game I never see him run a go route, go deep?
He's not a deep ball receiver. Some of these receivers aren't deep ball receivers. Like, I don't consider Devontae Adams a deep ball receiver. He's more of a middle.
Yeah, but when you're talking about the best receiver, he has to be a complete receiver. Julio can do everything. At number 1, the receiver must be complete. You cannot have certain flaws as your number 1 receiver, which
I don't know. I understand why you have Julio at number 1. I can see that. I can see any of our top 3 receivers being number 1, depending on the person. But I have Michael Thomas at number 1.
Yeah, that's horrible. All right, so now we're doing quarterbacks, and I know Cody's going to suck off Lamar in this segment.
No.
But that leaves what I'm about to say. At 5, I got Lamar Jackson. And the reason why I have him at 5 is only 1 year production. And we've seen in back-to-back playoffs, home games, we see lack of playoff success in the playoffs for back-to-back postseasons, and they're at home. And I do think next year defensive coordinators will have another year to game plan for him, and he will see a reduction in stats. But nonetheless, he's still a top 5 quarterback in my opinion. Still one of the greatest runners of all time. And I think if we made a running back list, he'd probably be in top 3.
Now, let me just start off by saying Lamar Jackson carried the Ravens to the playoffs the year before last year. When Joe Flacco went down with his injury, they were a mediocre team. They were looking to go 500 at that point. Lamar Jackson went on a 7-1 run, only losing to the Chiefs in overtime to take the Ravens to the playoffs. Now, granted, that year the Chargers were a better team than the Ravens that year. Let's be honest. The Chargers were a better team than the Ravens that year.
Hey, yeah, they make the playoffs but can't win games. So, like, all the other guys that have.
The Chargers were a better team than the Ravens that year. And I'm a Ravens fan, I'll admit that.
Are the Titans better?
No,
this year the Titans are better at nothing besides at running back. They're better at nothing.
Yes,
maybe
this year was on us. We should have won this year. But for me at number 5, I have Carson Wentz.
What?
I got Wentz at 5.
Wait. The guy who can't win games, but when Nick Foles is there, they win the Super Bowl? That person Wentz.
Bro, he got hurt. They still win the Super Bowl with him over Nick Foles in the playoffs.
I don't know about that.
He took practice squad receivers for the last 5 weeks of the season last year and took them to the playoffs.
That's because the division sucks ass. They wouldn't make the playoffs the past 2 years if they didn't play in one of the more weaker, think about it. The Redskins and the Giants have been a free 4 wins the past 2 years. It's a free 4 wins. To win the division, you only need to win 8-9 games. Yeah. Not to mention this dude's injury prone too.
Yeah, he is injury prone, but I mean, just he has the second best arm in the league behind Mahomes.
What?
Yeah.
Well, what? No. Aaron Rodgers?
No. Aaron Rodgers is on the decline, on the fat decline.
Oh yeah, because 26 touchdowns and 4 interceptions is a bad year apparently. Never knew that.
It's not a bad year.
That's a great year.
Dude, he only throws to one person.
Yeah, because if freaking Marquez Valdes-Scantling and Jermino Allison's are your other receivers, you're going to throw to one receiver.
Adam Lazard, Jimmy Graham. Adam Lazard's solid.
No, he's not, dude. Adam Lazard. Bro, nobody knows who Alan Lazard even is, bro. I think he's going to be okay next year. He's going to be their number 2 receiver, but he's not that good. Packers don't really know what they're doing. They should have drafted a receiver this year. They didn't. Instead, they want to draft his replacement. Which is not a bad pick necessarily.
That's not a bad pick. They could have picked up another receiver in the 2nd or 3rd round. I like the Jordan Love pick, but they should have drafted a receiver.
I don't hate it, but I don't know why you took AJ Dillon in the 2nd round. It makes no sense to me.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, but anyways, I have my number 4 quarterback is Aaron Rodgers, and this dude is getting criticized. He's getting criticized and being called a big decline when he had a 26-4 year. And the team went 13-3 with Matt LaFleur.
That's the fakest 13-3 of all time, and you know it. That is the cheesiest 13-3 of all time. Don't even act like it isn't. Dude, they are 10-6. Realistically, they're 10-6. They're not 13-3.
Okay, we'll give them that. Wentz went 9-7 with a division with free 4 wins, and you put him ahead of Rodgers. It's a free 4 wins. So the same criticism you can make about Rodgers, the same criticism you could make about Wentz. Like the records don't show like the actual season they actually had. Rodgers, like previous to last year, I probably would have had at number 2 because he just makes inhuman plays. He's Mahomes-like. Have you seen some of the throws he's made?
The throw to Aaron Jones was a prayer. He was throwing that out of bounds. He was not throwing that to Aaron Jones in the back of the end. That was a prayer.
Bro, we've seen multiple games. The game against the Hail Mary against the Lions, the back-to-back Hail Marys against the Cardinals and the Wild.
Oh my God! Matthew Stafford can throw Hail Mary.
No,
Andy Dalton can throw a Hail Mary.
Okay, then how come Aaron Rodgers has like 7 crazy Hail Marys in this decade? Remember the one against the Giants too? The one against the Bears to send them to the playoffs in like 2013 or something like that? The reason why the Packers have been struggling is because of the coaching and because of the defense most of the years besides last year. But Rodgers is clearly top 5 quarterback, and I think he's clearly better than Lamar in terms of what we've seen at least. Lamar had the better year last year, but I give it to Rodgers because he's shown consistent success, even when he's on somewhat of a decline.
For me, at number 4, he's probably not on your list, but I have Deshaun Watson.
Oh, no, I have him higher.
Then you don't have Russell Wilson on your list?
No, I have him higher.
All right. I have Deshaun Watson at 4. I mean, I see him as a possible future MVP. I mean, the play against the Bills in the playoffs, I don't see too many other people making that play. The play where he got kicked in the face and still threw a touchdown after. I mean, he just makes insane plays. He's a playmaker.
Yeah, I have Deshaun Watson at 3, and you see this level of production. He's literally the Texans with a horrible lunatic at coach and GM, Bill O'Brien. He's been carrying them in the playoffs, and they're winning playoff games, especially against the Bills this year. He has a bad, across his career so far, he has bad O-lines, no run game whatsoever, inconsistent defensive, and he's still leading them to playoff wins. And there's no doubt if you give him at least some sort of help, which Bill O'Brien doesn't do, he would probably be in the MVP race every year.
Yeah, I mean, for me at number 3, I have Lamar. I got Lamar at 3.
Too high.
I mean, you see a quarterback throwing for over 3,000 yards and rushing for over 1,000 yards, still throwing 36 touchdowns with only 6 interceptions. I mean, come on.
One season.
Even
One
next
season.
year, bro. Next year, the teams will still account for the running game more, but his accuracy improved so much from his first to his second year. Imagine how if he keeps working on it, bro. He's getting bigger. He's getting stronger. He's working on his deep ball. He's working on his accuracy. He still has so much potential. It's only his third year in the league, and he already won a unanimous MVP in his second year.
Yeah, he's working on things. I can't put him in the top 3 because he's working on things. He's not a top 3 right now. And there's no question in my mind Lamar will probably be higher next year. But the truth of the matter is, like, you can't win a playoff game, bro. At home,
God.
2 years in a row. At
No,
home.
okay, I'm not counting the Chargers game because the Chargers team was a lot better. It's a lot better. They were a lot better of a team.
A lot better. But it was disastrous the first 3 quarters. People were calling Joe Flacco after the first 3 quarters. You know that. They were calling
yes. But then look at what he almost pulled off a 20-point comeback in the fourth quarter.
Don't matter. They still lost. It's not a comeback.
The first 3 quarters were atrocious, but the last quarter is what you saw all of last year.
Didn't see it against the Titans. Did not see it at all. Who got mightily outplayed by
He didn't run enough.
Tannehill.
He didn't run enough in that game. He was trying to pass too much. I don't know why he was trying to pass that much. The run lane was so open.
That's the reason why I can't put him in my top 3 quarterbacks.
No.
I told you I put him in my top 3 running backs, guaranteed, no doubt about it. All right, so at number 2, I got Russell Wilson, who's one of the most underappreciated quarterbacks of the era. He's been carrying the Seahawks in the playoffs with absolutely no O-line whatsoever, and I know people say the reason why he's won the championship because he had a defense. That's not true. Pete Carroll and the Seahawks were like 7-9 before Russell Wilson, and right when Russell Wilson gets picked as a rookie, they're the Super Bowl champ. Even when the defense leaves, they're still dominant. Like that team is not that good. That Seahawks roster is not that good, and they're making to the playoffs every year. And they could have won. They could have won the division last year if it wasn't for Hollister at the last second was at the half-yard line or something like that.
Yeah. Also, if all their running backs didn't get hurt and they had to bring back Marshawn Lynch, they would have made the NFC Championship last year and played the Niners again in the NFC Championship.
They could have made
as well.
We have a number.
I got him at 2. I have Russell Wilson at number 2.
Okay, so on to number 1, I guess, and we definitely have the same guy, no question about it. It's Patrick Mahomes. Super Bowl MVP, one of the greatest talents, one of the greatest arms ever, and we're going to see probably for the next 15 years he's going to be the best quarterback in the league. And if you dispute that, you're just a hater at this point, and you just don't know football. Basically, as a rookie last year, like where he played like his first games, and basically the second season this year, they both probably should have won the Super Bowl twice because Frank Clark, not Frank Clark,
D Ford.
Niners. Yeah, D4 was offsides. This idiot was offside. It costed them the chance to win the Super Bowl in 2018. Otherwise, we'd be talking about Mahomes probably in the GOAT conversation already because in his first 2 seasons, he already has 1 MVP and 2 titles. If it wasn't for D4.
Yeah, I mean, I have him at number 1 too. I mean, the amount of things he can do on the field. He threw with his left hand at one point against the Broncos 2 years ago. He has the most range of, he throws no look passes in the NFL, which no one else I've ever seen do. He has a various amount of different arm angles. He can throw on the run. He has the best deep ball in the game. It's not even a question who's number 1.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And we might be considering him as the number 1 all time in a few years.
He has to win a few more championships, then we can talk about that.
Nah, if he gets 4, if he gets less than 4 chips.
I say if he gets 3, then we can talk about it.
Yeah, because I think he's a dramatically better quarterback talent than a guy like Brady.
Yeah, he's so much of a better talent than Brady, but he needs a few more championships.
Yeah, so I don't think he needs to win more championships than Brady to be better than him. He just needs to win.
No, he doesn't. More. He just needs 2 or 3 more. If he gets 2 or 3 more, then we can talk about that.
Facts. Oh, so we actually somewhat agreed on the quarterbacks.
Yeah. I don't know how you don't. I mean, Drew Brees was right outside my list, even though he's still 40 years old.
Yeah, I considered him.
I had porn star Jimmy and Tom Brady at 7 and 8. I mean,
what?
Yep. And then my dark horse, number 9, Josh Allen, the lesser version of Lamar. Oh, yes, he can. He's the lesser version of Lamar. He got a big upgraded receiver. expect big things from Josh Allen this year, bro. With Stephon Diggs, Cole Beasley, and John Brown out there in Buffalo.
He'll be a good fantasy receiver, not a good actual quarterback. I mean, a good fantasy quarterback, but won't actually be a real good quarterback.
I'm high on Josh Allen. If they're going to win the division, they're going to be the 3 seed.
Laughable.
They're going to be the 3 seed in the AFC. They'll be behind the Chiefs and the Ravens. The Chiefs will be the 1, the Ravens will be the 2, and the Bills will be the 3.
So that's it for today's podcast, Bums. Make sure you guys leave a rating or a comment on the pod and spread the word. Also, make sure you follow us on IG, which is left in the description. See y'all bums next episode.